Welcome to Season 2 of the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by community members and friends of Shekina Garden in Pai, Thailand. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hello everyone, it's Ro here. I'm here with Ray, hanging out in the kitchen. Hi Ray.
Hi, we've been hanging out a lot here lately while we record intros.
That's true, actually. Mostly because it's been raining, but today's not, and it's just a glorious, clear blue sky, and we're looking out at our bamboo, green against the blue. Quite beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It's Season 2, episode 100!
Woo! Woo!
I feel like I should let off some streamers and poppers and fireworks. Woo! As always, beloved patrons, you guys are supporting this podcast. We're always raising money to keep our community running, keep the lights on, and your patronage is part of the way that we do that. You can find us, if you'd like to support, at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. There's lots of different options for how much a month. It can be little or big, whatever you like.
Another way you can support us is by rating or reviewing us on iTunes or Spotify, or just by sharing the podcast in some way. So you can share it on social media, you can let your friends know about it, you can let your family know about it. Perhaps you're going to be, if you're in the US, you're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving soon, and you want to talk about this cool meditation podcast that you know about.
Nice.
Feel free to share it some way, or like or subscribe on YouTube. That would be wonderful too. And when you do that, we know that you're listening and that you appreciate us putting this into the world, which is why we do it. So thank you so much.
Well, today's episode is a Lectio Divina style meditation on verses from Luke 11, verses 37 to 42, guided by Neil. And first of all, Neil is going to offer us some exercises to help find some quietness and get us ready for meditating together. Next of all, he'll guide us through the verses with lots of space and quiet for our own contemplation. And then third, we recommend that you spend some time processing your meditation. If you've been meditating with others, it might be nice to have a sharing circle where you pass a stone or a stick or a feather or something around the circle, and each person takes it in turn to share without interruption. We just get to listen to each other. And if you've been meditating by yourself, some kind of version of that just on your own. So you might like to just make a voice note to yourself, or write some things down in a journal, or go for a bit of a walk and talk out loud to yourself. If you put your headphones on, it looks like you're on the phone. Or you could do a drawing or write a poem. Some kind of way of processing what's happened for you, just to bring it into the rest of your day or your week. Well, let's begin.
So find a comfortable position, something that you can hold for a while. There's no rule about being rigid with your sitting. If you need to shift and move, that's fine. If you need to stand up and walk around, that's fine. You can even lie down if you want, but I recommend you don't, because usually you might fall asleep. And I invite you to close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Just breathing normally and comfortably, but noticing, how is it to breathe? How does it feel to breathe? How do you notice your body changing as you breathe? Feel the cool of the air as it enters your nose. And as your lungs fill up, maybe the air is a little warmer as it comes out again. And as you breathe, become aware of the other sensations in your body. The cool of the wind on your skin, or the warmth of where you sit. Maybe there's some sore muscles, some tight parts of your body. You take this opportunity now to stretch a little. Maybe as you breathe in a bit deeper, you can stretch and find a slightly more comfortable position. Slowly move from sensation to sensation in your body. And let's now move our focus from inside our bodies to outside, to the soundscape around us. What can you hear? Perhaps you'd like to identify one sound and imagine how that sound is being made. And then after a little while, move to the next one. What's the most distant sound that you can hear? And what's the nearest sound? Although we sit in silence, there's plenty of sound around us. And if you find yourself, your mind and your heart wandering away from this meditation or being distracted somehow, and you notice that, come back to the sounds, come back to your breath. You can use these two things to rejoin the meditation. The purpose of these exercises, the sensation of body and sound, is to calm our mind and our hearts, to quieten them using observation. We've all come from different experiences of the day so far. And our minds are our own, our hearts are our own. And we know them, you know them. And hopefully in this time we can encourage them to hush, to settle, to be quiet. To let the things of the past, the things of the future, worries or concerns or expectations, to let them fall away. And to help us with that, I have one more exercise. So let's engage our imagination and imagine yourself seated on the edge, or just near, however you like, the edge of a cliff. And way down below is the ocean. The view is spectacular. What can you see? And in your lap is a small bundle of paper that can fit in your hands. It's bound with some string. And on this paper are your thoughts. Each piece of paper has a different thought, has a different emotion, a thing that might be on your mind or on your heart right now. Those concerns or expectations or to-do lists, they're all on those pieces of paper. So what do they look like as you untie the string and look at them? And for the purpose of settling our hearts and minds, I invite you to, one by one, pick up a piece of paper, look at what's on it, and then let it go over the cliff and float down into the water below. These things aren't necessary right now. So feel free to let them go. Some of them may well be very important, but for now, just for now, let them go. As your bundle of paper dwindles, and you get to the last ones, or perhaps your lap is empty already. Take a moment to enjoy the silence, the clear space that's before you. And in this clear space, with all things let go, I encourage you to acknowledge the presence of the Divine with you. Just being present together. And it's in this presence that we now move to our second phase, reading the scripture. This is from Luke chapter 11, verse 37. And so for this first reading, just allow the words to unfold before you like you're watching a play on a stage for the first time. Maybe you'd like to imagine what the characters look like and how the scenes change as the story unfolds. Trying not to analyze, but taking note of any questions that arise or emotions that arise. But just listen. As Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So Jesus went to his house and reclined at the table. When the Pharisee saw this, he was amazed that Jesus did not first perform the ritual washing before dinner. But Jesus said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are full of greed and evil. Fools! Didn't he who made the outside make the inside as well? But give from what is within to the poor, and then everything is clean for you. But woe to you, Pharisees! You give a tenth of your mint, rue, and every kind of herb, but you bypass justice and love for God. These things you should have done without neglecting the others. What did you see? Did you notice any questions? How did this passage make you feel? So for the second reading, I invite you to explore. Look for answers for those questions. Ask why these emotions came up. What's the meaning of this passage? What do these words mean? And how do they touch your lives? As Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So Jesus went to his house and reclined at the table. As Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So Jesus went to his house and reclined at the table. When the Pharisee saw this, he was amazed that Jesus did not first perform the ritual washing before dinner. When the Pharisee saw this, he was amazed that Jesus did not first perform the ritual washing before dinner. But Jesus said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are full of greed and evil." But Jesus said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are full of greed and evil." Fools! Didn't he who made the outside make the inside as well? But give from what is within to the poor, and then everything is clean for you. Fools! Didn't he who made the outside make the inside as well? But give from what is within to the poor, and then everything is clean for you. But woe to you, Pharisees! You give a tenth of your mint, rue, and every kind of herb, but you bypass justice and love for God. These things you should have done without neglecting the others. But woe to you, Pharisees! You give a tenth of your mint, rue, and every kind of herb, but you bypass justice and love for God. These things you should have done without neglecting the others. For the third reading, wherever your thoughts have gone, or however this has touched your life, or been meaningful to you, I encourage you to come back to the presence of God. To see what one or two things you can take from this with you for the rest of the day. And what is it that God is wanting to tell you in these words? As Jesus was speaking, a Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So Jesus went to his house and reclined at the table. When the Pharisee saw this, he was amazed that Jesus did not first perform the ritual washing before dinner. But Jesus said to him, "Now you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside you are full of greed and evil. Fools! Didn't he who made the outside make the inside as well? But give from what is within to the poor, and then everything is clean for you. But woe to you, Pharisees! You give 1/10 of your mint, rue, and every kind of herb, but you bypass justice and love for God. These things you should have done without neglecting the others. As this part of the meditation comes to the end, you might want to offer up a prayer of acknowledgement or gratitude, or whatever seems appropriate. And come back to your breath. And maybe with a few deeper breaths, you might want to move your body a bit, wiggle your toes, stretch your back. And with a few more breaths, become aware of the people around you and the sounds around you. And in your own time, and as a sign of rejoining the circle, you can open your eyes and we'll move on to the next part.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.